Call me Fuego, 93 like me. Fire in the sheets, spending summers on the sea. Quedo, no way home. Bearfield life on Rodeo.
And they just got shut down. Like they got like I think 3 kills maybe, but there's 7 or 8 of them were killed for it. So I don't know if that was maybe a sign of what happens when a Turkey on the defense, whether the Finland just don't quite have the teamwork to break the Turkish line, or whether that was just a bit of a flash in the pan, a bit of a desperation play. So I want to see what happens when Finland have like 30 up and they're on the attack.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see now, because we are headed on over to Vikendi, the newly less snowy Vikendi, where global warming has indeed become a factor. Dino Land has been expanded. Trains has been plopped down all over the place. And yeah, we're in for some happy times, hopefully. And for the sake of Finland, hopefully we're in for a win, because if not, then they will find their way towards the losers bracket. Now, as you can see, they start the game with a 2-player lead, and maybe that's the key to victory. Just make sure the other team doesn't connect to the server.
Yeah, I mean, if you could make a way to get all 32 not connect, then it's just a free map. So maybe they've got a new strategy that they're testing for this map. But
maybe remakes would come in. Then I don't know.
Maybe like one really underrated change to this map for me is that area around Abbey, right? Because there was a massive, almost like a mountain there, right? Yeah, and if you had control of that, you could pretty much stop a team from rotating just at all. And the fact that that's been changed, and the fact that it's no longer strong, means I think fights around there are going to be a lot of fun. But talking of fights, Dino Land's a bit of a cluster right now, as it seems to be the Pachinki / Impala of our last 2 maps.
And also, it's literally dead center in the circle, so makes sense. People want to try a little journey to the to the playgrounds there. I mean, I've had the pleasure of both running around quite a bit in Dino Land, but also like pausing a game and flying around for a while. I really like what they've done with it.
It's a lot of fun to fight in. Yeah, I've had many a fight now in that area, and there's so many angles, but there's not too many. Like there's all these unique places, like battling around the ice right around this area is so much fun. So yeah, I mean, I love the changes they've made, but also it means that it's a position where you can't really control anything around it if you're inside. So even though it's center of the map here, it's like, do you want to control it or do you want to go on the hills around? Now, I kind of feel like the hills are more important.
Sikora finds She Created on the bridge, and once again, She Created was the first one to go down in the gas station last game too. Gotta be a feels bad man. He just never gets to play.
Maybe he's trying to eat his dinner. He's standing in the game ready, get his food down. But you'd think he'd have been able to eat at the time of the last match. So maybe he's on dessert this time.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious. Do you think Dino Land's a position you want to control in this? Because like I'm on the fence really.
I feel like it works a lot like LSH did last game. You don't necessarily want to be in there, but you do want to like control the surrounding area. So if you can spread out around and take control, that makes sense. But then again, we've seen teams try to do similar strats, and well, Finland haven't been successful in trying to split out and take control. So maybe just give it up altogether. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at the way Finland and Turkey are playing in Dino Land, Finland are all in these like they're all on their own basically. They're spread out individually, and Turkey's just in this little blob, just running around as like a 5-man group. So, like, let's say Anonymous gets a knock on Tukrepa here, Dog is just there to trade instantly. If Dog gets knocked, someone else is there to trade. So, I really love the way Turkey are approaching these early gunfights, and I mean the game in general. And I think if you do want to control an area like Dino Land, you need to stay in those really compact units.
Well, as we've said before, they have great success in this type of tournament, and it's not like they've ever really changed their strategy. I think they have one of those, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're stuck to the same strategy and just kind of perfected it over the last couple of seasons.
And you just see now that those individual Finnish players are just getting picked off. You know, the kill feed, yes, we had that 2-man advantage, but it's 4-2 in terms of kills this game already towards Turkey. Yep. And pretty much all of the kills that Turkey have actually got have been in Dino Land. You know, all these individualistic players have just not been able to do anything. And we talk about trading as an important skill, right? You know, if you get knocked, you want your teammate to step in and knock the player that's knocked you just every time. If you can keep doing that all the way through it, and then one guy gets 2, suddenly you're the man advantage. But the fact that you spread out individually just means you can't do that. I mean, staying competitive When it's, I mean, this is obviously very different to put it, but are we gonna have a Dynaland ending? Hello, is it? Are we just going straight into the Dynaland?
Shifts back towards the west, and all of a sudden, it's actually Turkey who has I don't want to say upper hand necessarily yet, but they do have the majority of the space. You can see it's kind of, I mean, the train tracks are the natural, I guess you can say, somewhat natural divider between the two teams as of right now. And I feel like if if Finland has to start push down across the train tracks, that's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I think really the only way in is by the train station. Like there's a decent amount of cover around there that you can use to cross the road. We sort of see security looking towards it right now. But I mean, crossing the rest of the train track, especially on the eastern side of Dynaland, it's just pretty much impossible because it's so exposed. And there's a lot of high ground that you can get in Dynaland. You can control that area of the map. So I kind of want to see the Finnish roster try and get a group into, try and get an expedition into Dynaland now and gain a foothold at least that the rest of the team can flood through later on.
Maybe this is the time where Finland has to play aggressive. Maybe that's going to turn the turn everything around. We'll see. The train still driving on forward, and I think if you're Finland, you're smart and just waiting for the next circle to pop here.
Yeah, but there is that risk that there's a free kill for Turbo. But the problem comes now is if the circle sort of goes west to northwest, the fact that Finland have no control really over Dynaland by having this. By having the one T-Rex running around here, like the lack of control, the lack of a foothold in the urban area means that later on, Turkey could just set up and just hold you out, right? So they're sort of relying on now the circle not going hard west.
The thing is right now, I mean, if you're Turkey, just like we talked about with the Khan Miramar last game, you got killed by one guy, but you have no idea whether there's 1 or 9 people there. I mean,
you can see them all turning around.
They're all pushing towards it, right? You have no clue whether that's just a solo, if there's more people coming. You can see now, actually, there are vehicles starting to pull up towards the southeast side of Dynaland.
Yeah, it's a bit of a D-Day moment as Mick has an Upstick lead the charge into the south side of Dynaland, which I'd really love to see when Turbo's is hiding. But I feel like Turbo's been a really great distraction here. He's forced like 4 or 5 of the Turkish players to turn around and try and clear out the area. And the fact that he's just staying alive so long is allowing the rest of the Finnish players to join in.
Unfortunately, they can see the gun, or at least they could see the gun. Oh, no, they still can. That is, that's not optimal. That is not optimal at all.
Lucky it's not there to see it right now. But
they aren't here.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Oh, no. Will he see? No, he ran back. Whew. Fortunate.
It kind of feels like now Turkey need to get rid of this little pocket right on the eastern side. They need to push into it now and make sure that the rest of the Finnish players can't join in. But that circle is actually quite nice for Finland because now they're not under pressure to take more control of the city, right? More control of the park.
You just wait for them to have to push out.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to work or not, I don't know. Let's see. The Finnish players are still somewhat spread out, but there are only so many entry points to the theme park, and I guess in this case, exit points. And I feel like all of Turkey has to push through them, unless if they want to run back now and make the way either north or south around. But then they have to do it like right now because the circle starts moving real soon.
Yeah, they still have a lot of control of pretty much everything that's north of the railway, right? But I mean, this big Finnish group here, if they can start picking off players, you see it's sort of happening in the kill feed, if they can start flushing them as well and push the man advantage in their favor, then it doesn't really matter if they have map control or not, because they can just start to roll over the Turkish roster.
You can see there are Turkish players up towards the north as well. Rip is right next to Finland, or at least to some of the Finnish players. That's a far-range Molotov. I'm not sure if that's going to land. Maybe it will. Oh, actually, close enough. A little too far, actually.
I didn't think it would make it. It actually went beyond. But... Well, that one's good. No, he moved slightly. But, I mean, I really like this push on the eastern side from Finland, right? To try and take control of this area. They're getting the kills as well as Thunderloss goes down. If they can clear out this side and give themselves a path to the northern side of the circle, then they can sort of feel confident. They could just start taking that fight in the urban areas and don't have to rely on a bit of luck to get into the next circle, because now they're starting to exert pressure on the map, starting to take control of all the areas except this little bit here.
I like Rip's position, trying to maybe become a nuisance to do and how they can play it in terms of trying to aggress. BSD finds 2, nice shooting, the kill. The kills, I should say, are still in favor of Finland, but there are a lot of knocks coming in. You can see how they're using the train tracks here, they're like the roller coaster tracks. I think that's pretty creative.
Yeah, it's a really good way to get map control. Metralius just knocks Augie straight off it with the big green gun. It seems like for now Turkey are holding their own, but you look at that kill feed. You look at the Manavas. I mean, you just got Melon. 3 people have just been taken down by a big green gun in the space of a couple of seconds. But Turbo Banani's come back in, and the kill feed, the man advantage is still in Finland's favor for now.
See, next circle, this could be the deciding one. Where does it go? It goes out of the talk. So now, I feel like I want to see all of Turkey just sent it to the northern exit. Just right down here, because it seems like it's working out. But they're still limited in terms of how do they get out if they stay down on the south side.
Yeah, I think maybe the opportunity here is for them to take that gunfight, right? I mean, if Ripman can get a bunch of players down here, it'd be massive. But realistically, he's going to go down. You know, maybe one more kill at most, but he's getting shot from range. But if we sort of take that western side, right, where the main fight is happening, if Turkey can clear that out and push the man advantage back in their favor, it doesn't necessarily matter if they don't have map control, because they can, they could just outtrade their way to the win. And this fight here, I think, is crucial to whoever wins this game. And for now, it looks like it's going all in Turkey's favor.
Yeah, I mean, Finland had a pretty decent numbers advantage a little earlier, but that's gone back, and now they're actually behind. Look at this. Turkey are doing a great job, despite the fact that they're kind of cornered in the position they're in. They have 15 kills now. Wow, that turned around really quickly.
And what was the 3 or 4 man advantage for Finland? It's just gone and just flipped in a matter of seconds. Just all of a sudden, Turkey in the ascendancy. And I mean, yes, we were talking about not having map control, but if they can take where Upazik is and keep this sort of man advantage, it won't really matter.
They were 27 to 22. All of a sudden, they just lost a ton of players, with Turkey really only losing 1.
Yeah, it's just once again, the Finnish players are going down one by one and not in a position where they can trade. Now, the final sort of team, the final man of this team on the southwest is gone. So Brula goes down. So all of a sudden, that group that we had, that Finland had positioned on the edge of Dynaland, that was basically holding off the entire Turkish roster, is just gone.
That is insane. They had the numbers. They were up by 5 or 6. I believe it was 6 players at one point. And once again, it's those when Turkey starts aggressing, when they say, okay, 3, 2, 1, now we go. Finland just aren't there to respond to it.
Yeah, once again, a testament to Turkey's ability in gunfights to work as a team. I mean, they're just rolling through one of the most stacked countries in PUBG. Not even in European PUBG, just in PUBG in general. I mean, you look at how many great players on this Finnish team, and then you look at how they're being manhandled by Turkey. It's just mightily impressive.
Really, really, really impressive. DA getting kills in there, of course. I mean, it's top-level players across all the rosters on both sides, to be fair. But right now, Turkey has the upper hand, and I don't believe there's anything Finland can do to turn it around. So the nightmare and memories of the last 3-0 will ring for longer, as they will be able to do it once more. And there you have it. Turkey 3-0 Finland once more.
I mean, all the other teams seeing this happening, they must be terrified. Like, I mean, even Russia next. Like, we spoke last week about how strong that Russian team was, but then you see Turkey just obliterate one of the best regions in PUBG. Yep. I mean, you've got to be terrified if you're coming up against them next.
So Turkey versus Russia, potentially, depending on how the Russia and Kazakhstan match has gone, could be up.
I mean, that could be a grand final.
That's your grand final right there. Exactly. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think a testament to how many stacked teams we have in this. That we can get in the winners semis. We can get something as stacked as Russia versus Turkey, and something that, I mean, should be a great spectacle, because that Turkish team is just looking scary good.
They are really, really good. And I mean, I don't want to say they play the same style as Russia, because it seems a little more brawn and brained. No disrespect, but they are very, like, they're not dependent on, but they play a lot out of their, if we can just throw enough people in a pile in here, we will get kills. And it's worked out 3 out of 3 games now. If they just, like, if their push is aggressive enough, they have the skill set in shooting to literally smother the opponents, and that's what they've succeeded in doing.
It kind of feels like everyone they've met so far is split into 2 or 3 pretty evenly sized groups, right? Whereas in contrast, Turkey sends like maybe 3 or 4 players to keep one occupied, and then keeps that main stack of like 22 to 25 players that just goes or rolls over one of the groups. I mean, we saw that game with the Dainland fight. As soon as that went the way of Turkey, just because of how big a man advantage Turkey had in that fight, I mean, the whole game just flipped on its head and just went straight into Turkey's lap.